Hello, my name is Dlamini. I'm with newzimbabwe.com. I've got with me here Mr. Zvorwadza, who is the chairperson of the National Vendors Union, who's basically going to tell us, a few issues pertaining to his position, his current position vis-a-vis the status quo in our political situation. Mr. Zvorwadza, you have been quite a very big critic of the current Zanu PF government, and there's been this turnaround in your, articulation of issues, in your view of issues of the current government. You may want to say something about that.
Thank you very much for speaking to me this evening. I am a person who stood by principle against expedience. I am someone who believes in telling people the truth. I am a person who has always fought the battles of this struggle in Zimbabwe. A battle against injustice, poverty, corruption, truthfully and sincere. I never sought to gain power over it, and I never sought to take advantage of the people so that I can have mileage to elevate myself in the political spheres of power. What infuriates me and what prompts me to speak the truth in times when people are trying to avoid speaking the truth is that I have seen a lot of loopholes from our political leadership, especially in the opposition leadership who sit in parliament. There are a number of issues that I'll raise with you today that you need to know. Number one, we have an issue of external voters who are like the diaspora voters. We are told by opposition political leadership, especially those who sit in parliament, that the ZEC and the government are not willing for them to have these external voters to come and participate in votes, when they truly know legally that cannot happen. Why? Because there are issues to address the residents' issues of our voting system, which only accommodates someone who's been resident in Zimbabwe for 12 months. Instead of this political leadership to come and explain to us, say, look, we have not done enough in the past 5 years to have this issue addressed so that we can have voters from outside the country to vote. They will come and confuse us and lie to us that it is the other part which is not participating. That's hypocrisy. If we look at that point alone, we get angered by people whom we want to put in position of trust to lead us when they mislead us with falsehoods for things that they have not done.
In other words, you have broken ranks with the opposition. Was it, some months before, you were quite very, angry with the administration of Robert Mugabe, and it did appear to a great extent that you were sort of like cozy with the opposition. And we see now a different Zvorwadza. In other words, you've broken ranks with the opposition. You want to say something about it?
Words may describe what people want to hear in their ears. I've never been aligned to any political affiliation. I've been non-partisan, but very political.
But you've been involved with the MDC at some point. We heard a lot about you, vying for a seat within the movement for democratic change.
You look back then, in 2013, I stood in primaries for Member of Parliament for Mbare. What happened.
On the MDC ticket.
On the MDC ticket. What happened. And from there, I learned serious lessons. And these lessons taught me to be non-partisan, but I'm very political. We want to draw our discussion back to the issue whether or not I've broken ranks with the opposition political arena. I've never been aligning or aligned to any opposition political field. What I've been doing is to do my work in a non-partisan way, but ensuring that our people, the informal economy workers, who constitute the biggest number of voters in this country, get educated, one, for their civic education, number two, their political education. Because the leaders whom they choose, they're the very leaders who decide policies that will govern and direct their lives.
Yes, I was at your address at the University of Zimbabwe, whereupon you appeared like you're quite very, you admired what the present government of President Mnangagwa is doing right now. You're actually saying that it was anointed and stuff like that. You actually gave a flowery, description of Mnangagwa and his government. You want to repeat that, of course, for the benefit of our audience?
Look, it is good to speak exactly what I've said, and it is also very good for the audience to understand and appreciate me. We anointed Mnangagwa, myself included, and all the political leaders in this country. Why I said we anointed him? Some have described what happened as a hard coup. Some have described it as a soft coup. Some have given it different names. But despite all these names which accompanied the occurrence of what happened in November 2017, we've seen members of the opposition leadership thronging and rushing, mobilizing to accompany His Excellency, the President of the Republic of Zimbabwe. I will repeat, because it's His Excellency. If I don't do it, then we possibly would have gone there for something which is not what we should be talking about here. Because when we went there, someone was being anointed, was being given a position of head of state. And that position needs respect when we address him. Until and when he is not in that position, that we can call him any other name. But I'm also at liberty to call him ED, because it is my constitutional right to call him the way I want. And at this particular moment, all I'm saying is we want to be able to have leaders who say the truth. Mnangagwa is our product. If you're in Zimbabwe, you are possibly one of those people who made Mnangagwa be where he is. Because if they'd done this takeover without people supporting it, then
that point understood. You were actually saying that Mnangagwa is going to deliver a free and fair election, a flawless election, so to speak. You want to say more about that? You want to repeat that?
I compared President Mnangagwa with the former President Robert Mugabe. President Robert Mugabe vowed at one point to say the gun cannot be overtaken by a pen. In other words, what he had said then is we cannot allow a ballot paper to decide who rules or who governs this country, which means he had openly declared in broad daylight that the military cannot allow takeover of power to anyone unless they had credentials of a military background, which is completely opposite with what Mnangagwa is saying. Mnangagwa in broad daylight, he is speaking of peace, and he continues to even tell the international community that please be confident with Zimbabwe, we are open for business. And I'm repeating what you are hearing every day from the president of Zimbabwe. And for me to speak and repeat what he's saying should not be taken as a crime. And at the same time, I have every right to do my own assessment. If my assessment is wrong, people should turn around and say, look, you have said it wrong. And they should say the right thing. And the second thing that I also want to raise to your audience and to the people of Zimbabwe and the friends of Zimbabwe who are listening, we have a lot of misgivings from our opposition political leaders who in one point decide to stand for us. And when they decide to stand for us, they then pretend to be representing us when they are not. Because you cannot represent someone and lie to them.
Looks like you're doing all the bashing of the opposition of the current government. There's an impression.
I should be clearly stating the obvious and stating the things that are on there. We have here today an issue of the opposition political parties working towards having a free and fair, credible election. They are busy telling people out there that they are not having a chance to be able to participate in the printing of ballot paper. when we have leadership of the opposition political parties who are sitting in parliament, who made those laws,
But we are
and
hearing,
today, look,
we are hearing little of any criticism on your part of President Mnangagwa. We don't seem to be hearing that.
Look, and today,
Yet you have asked,
look, we should have people listen and know this. They have not amended the laws that would allow anyone to deal and tamper with the processes of an electoral process of printing of ballot papers. They made the laws and they allow ZEC to do it because they said ZEC do it according to law. But today when they come out here to us, they are saying that we were not being given a chance to do ABCD, which is hypocrisy.
You're quite very eloquent insofar as you seek to criticize the opposition.
I'm not. Look, if this is the problem. This is the problem with our discussion when we are talking about issues of this country. I am not criticizing. I am merely repeating and stating facts, and I'm stating the obvious. These people should know what they should do for them to be able to win our hearts genuinely is for them to come out here and say, look, gentlemen, we have failed in the past period to remove this law in parliament. Now we have a problem. We cannot be allowed to tamper with the voting process. We want to hear that. But if they come and turn around, then there is an issue.
The opposition is all to blame for everything, according to you. But do you find any fault in President Mnangagwa and his government? Do you think they've done anything wrong so far?
Look, like if a lot have been listening to my speech, whose speech was half disrupted by people who didn't want to hear that Mnangagwa as a person.
Because they've seen a complete transformation of the Sten Zvorwadza that they've gotten to know.
What they wanted to see and wanted to enjoy to see is for me to be in hospital after having been brutalized by the previous regime. That they enjoyed see, and for them that should be known. So in this context, what they want and expect me to do and to see is for me to chase after Mnangagwa. What do I chase Mnangagwa for? I stood on the streets of Harare about 2-3 months ago. His regime wanted to remove street traders by way of giving them 48-hour ultimatum. They said in 48 hours, go. I stood up, mobilized my people, we went on the streets, and we said no. The government gave us 48 hours, all the jobs that we want. When I went on the streets, at the back of my mind, I thought, oh, now that there is army in place, I'm going. But anyway, I'll see it. I went on the streets. I did what I did with my people. We resisted, and I'm sure you know. And at times, some of my people on the streets did not only just resist in a normal way. I tried to stop them, but they were resisting in many different forms. I was not arrested. I was not told to shut up. I was not even told that I've committed a crime. All I was told is that you have a constitutional right to do it. And this actually came from one of the people who counter-reacted to my statement. And to me, this is the language we want to hear from politicians. If we have a constitutional right as enshrined in our constitution on section 59, which allows us to petition and demonstrate, if we demonstrate, we should not be penalized for it. So basically, in terms of what I was doing in the past administration and the things that normally got me into trouble over and over again were very simple: protest.
And we don't see that anymore.
No, not at all. I've not seen it, but I've not seen it. But if it's happening elsewhere, look, I can't speak for the whole country because I'm speaking specifically for areas where I have influence and for areas where I operate.
You may want to respond also to the growing, impression as we wrap up, to the growing impression that you have been bought by Zanu PF. You want to respond to that?
All right, very well. If I've been bought by Zanu PF, then I'm sure the price would be beyond a measure of money, because there is no political party, there is no individual who is capable of buying my principle against expedience. If someone is to buy me, I'm sure they need to spend a lot, which means they need 2 times the value and the value of Zimbabwe for me possibly to accept such type of buying. I will never be bought by ED's administration, neither will I be bought by any formation in terms of what I believe, because I stand for the people, I stand for the rights of people. I can tell you in confidence, and I can tell you on record now, that most or all political formations approached me to come and stand in this coming election as a member of parliament or councillor. I told them no. Why? Because I'm afraid if I were to do that, I will confuse the people I lead. They would think that I was doing all this for power. I don't need power. I do not want derived power. I want real power. Let them get power, then let them employ us. I'm better off and empowered to be employed as a manager of this fuel station, doing my own general work, earning a living that is constant and predictable. That is what I call a real power. That is what I call a power which is not derived. And based on that, I can assure you, and I will stand non-partisan until this country is redeemed. Whoever redeems this, if it's you, it's you. We go behind you. If it's ED, it's ED. If it's Chamisa, it's Chamisa. But bottom line, we have to look at issues that bedevil us, and these issues are poverty, corruption, and injustice. Let's deal with them. And these are the issues that we should be focusing, not just going about and say, Zvorwadza said, let's give ED a chance. What is by definition giving ED a chance? Did I say let's vote ED, or I said let's give ED a chance? What is to give a chance?
I think you make yourself quite very clear there, Mr. Zvorwadza. Thank you very much for your time.
I appreciate, most indebted.
There you have it. Mr. Stan Zvorwadza, who is the chairperson of the National Vendors Union, was just chatting to us, and I hope that some of the issues that were hanging out there, some of the questions that were hanging out there have adequately been responded to by Mr. Stan Zvorwadza. My name is Happy viewing. Thank you.